This question was taken from Unilag Foundation entrance examination. So the question is, a proton has a speed of 4.5 times 10 raised to the power 6 meters per second in a direction perpendicular to a uniform magnetic field, and the proton moves in a circle of radius 0.20 meters. What is the magnitude of the electric field? Now we know that in an electric field, the force is equal to the force on the charge in an electric field is given as F equals the charge Q times the speed or velocity times the magnetic field sine theta. But in the question we are told that the speed is perpendicular to the direction of the uniform magnetic field. So the angle between the speed and the magnetic field is 90 degrees. So sine 90 degrees is equal to 1. So therefore the force becomes F equals QVB. Now we also know that the proton moves in a circle of radius 0.20 meters. So therefore, if it moves in a circle, it also means that the force F acting on the charge is equal to the centripetal force on the object. That will give us mv, that's the mass of the charge, times, that's mv square, divided by the radius. So I can call this equation, the first equation above this as equation 1, and this will be equation 2, this is equation 1. Now combining equation 1 and 2, because they are both equal, the force on the proton is equal to the force between the charge, the velocity, and the magnetic field, and also the centripetal force that keeps the charge moving in that circle of radius 0.20 meters. So they are equal. So we can equate 1 and 2. So equating 1 and 2, we are going to have this. So equation 1 and 2 are equal. So we have QVB equals mv squared divided by r. So we have to look for the magnetic field. So the magnitude of the magnetic, so we have to look for B. So we are going to make B the subject of the formula from this equation. So by doing that, we are going to have B equals, so by making B the subject of the formula from here, B equals mv squared divided by Q times V times R. Now remember that Q is a proton. It's actually a proton, and the charge on the proton is 1.6 times 10 raised to power 1.6 times 10 raised to power minus 16 coulombs. Now basically the charge, okay, this is the electronic charge. Let me just put an equal sign here. E, the electronic charge, E is equal to 1.6 times 10 raised to power minus 19, not 16, times 10 raised to power minus 19 coulombs. So the electronic charge is also equal to the charge of the proton. The only difference is that the electron is negatively charged while the proton is positively charged. And again, the mass of the electron is equal to 1 over 1840 the mass of proton. So from here we can say that the mass of proton, the mass of the proton is equals to 18400 the mass of the electron. And we know that the electronic mass is equal to 9.1, is approximately equal to 9.1 times 10 raised to power minus 31 kilograms. So we're going to get this. So now you can see that the mass of the proton is 1840 mass times mass of the electron. So this is going to give us 1840 times the mass of the electron. So I'm going to put times there. So we see the mass of the proton, the mass of the proton is 1840 times 9.1 times 10 raised to minus 31 kilograms. Hence the mass of the proton is 1.6. From my calculator I had 1.6774 times 10 raised to power minus 27 kilograms. So all we have to do is to insert this back inside this equation here, So I'm going to put this back into this equation here. So that's the equation we are going to get. So this is our equation. So I'm slotting all of this inside this. So we have the mass of the proton will be here. So the mass of the proton is this. So we're going to multiply that by the speed. So we have this. Now from here, this velocity can be cancelled out by this here. So when they cancel out each other, we're going to have this left. So when this one of these v cancels out with this v, we're going to be left with just one v here. So we're going to be left with one v. So we're left with one v there. So this whole equation becomes B equals so we'll be left with this, the mass of the proton times V divided by Q and divided by R. So that will lead us to this. So all we have to do is to slot in the value of the speed, the charge of the proton, which is 1.6 times 10 raised to the power minus 19 coulombs. Then we put the radius of the circle. So on the sorted values, B equals 1.6774 times 10 raised to the power minus 27 times 4.5 times 10 to the power 6 divided by 1.6 times 10 to the power minus 90 times 0.2. So this is going to give us B is going to be equal to, so I'm going to press on my calculator, 1.67 1.6744 exponential minus 27 times 4.5 exponential 6. That's going to give us 7.5348 exponential minus 22. So 7.5348 times 10 to the minus 2 divided by 1.6 exponential minus 19 times 0.2. So that will give us 3.2 exponential minus 20. Hence, B equals 7.5348 divided by 3.2 exponential 10 raised to the power minus 20. So we have 3.2. So 7.5 exponential 7.5348 exponential minus 22 divided by 3.2 exponential minus 20 is going to give us 0.0235 Tesla. So that is the final results.